be seeing you.
ADR Networks presenta Las opiniones expresadas en este programa son responsabilidad exclusiva de quienes las emiten y no representan necesariamente el pensamiento o alguna posición oficial de este medio de comunicación. ADR Networks presenta.
This is Celestine Angel.
And I'm Isaac Crouch.
And this is...
Foreign Show! On the Foreign Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people everywhere, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm Celestine Angel.
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
And we're here on ADF Network.
Activating your senses. Yes. Today on the Insider segment, we're going to get into the sense of taste. Yes, we're going to talk about our review. It's going to be a review on the tempeh, right? Tempeh that we kind of featured on one of the previous episodes. And we actually had it delivered and we had an opportunity to try it out. We kind of cooked with it. And what do you think?
Right, so first let me tell you what tempeh is. Tempeh is an Indonesian food. It's actually made from fermented soybeans. And it's like a power food. So and especially for vegans and all that, this is like amazing for them, because it's extremely good for you and it gives you all the protein you need. And
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's basically it comes in a form of like a cake, right? And it's a particular fungus that ferments to make this thing, to make the cake. And that is what you're looking at right now.
Right.
Tempeh.
So we are particularly reviewing Gusto's tempeh. They sent us some packs of tempeh just a couple of days back, and we cooked with it, and it was so good. I mean, like, we are from Southeast Asia, and we have Indonesian food in our country, and tempeh is essential in an Indonesian food dish. Like you have the whole mix, you have the rice or the dish that comes with it, like ayam bakar or penyet or nasi goreng or
Nasi
whatever.
goreng, yeah.
And then they will add the tempeh. Like they usually cut it into like some rectangular cubes, and you eat it with the rice. And sometimes you blend it all in, and it's just really delicious. Yeah. So you can see how it looks
So
like
that's
when it's you're given.
yeah, it was so delicious that usually you get like this much, right? But I took this much, you know what I mean? I took the whole thing, Super
Yeah.
delicious.
So, and we are planning to cook again with it today because according to Louisa, who was on our show, she was a guest on our show, in season 1, she explained that as you keep, because this is a non-GMO food, it continues to ferment as you keep it. So in the first 5 days when you receive it, it's best to eat it so the flavor is fresh, everything is good. And then you can freeze it and it will last up to 3 months. So if you're going to keep it in the fridge, you should consume it within 5 days. So we're going to cook our second pack today. And we actually have some ingredients that our friend got for us. Also another guest that came on the show, Nathaniel.
Shout out, Nathaniel.
Yeah, he got for us some belacan from Singapore, and it's perfect with tempeh. So so exciting to have the two together and to have some Southeast Asian flavors at
That
home.
is a special combination. You get the belacan, the tempeh, with the rice.
Yeah.
And belacan is actually it's actually made from shrimp, right? So when you're cooking it, the place kind of stinks, right?
It's like a very strong smell, it overwhelms everything, but it's so good.
But it's so
I love it.
delicious.
I love that smell. I'm sure a lot of non-Southeast Asians would find it really strong and smelly, like like how like, a lot of Americans don't like durians, but like for us, it's like this smell is home. It's so nice. Yeah.
So apologies to all the neighbors at Pake Orange. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're invited to come over and try if you want. And I just want to make one point about the fact that this tempeh that you get from um, these guys is actually non-GMO food, right? Because GMO foods are genetically modified organisms, right? So technically, the
Not
idea,
GMO, it's life.
yes,
Mhm,
exactly,
mhm,
it's actually alive,
mhm.
non-GMO food being alive, and the fact that it actually is continuing to ferment, kind of gives you a clue of that it's actually a living organism that's still doing its magic, and it's the kind of food that we classify as a superfood,
Yeah.
together with yams and some of these other stuff.
Yeah, I think like every culture has in their cuisine some of these kinds of foods where it's actually good for your gut.
Mm.
So like the Koreans have their kimchi, and
Yeah,
the Indonesians have tempeh, and belacan itself, like what we mentioned, is also one of these power foods.
belacan is as well, right? There's some fermenting going on in belacan
It
as
is,
well.
yeah, it is fermented.
Mm.
Yeah, so we would like to mention the places where you can find Gusto's Tempeh. I mean, firstly, it's definitely something to bring up that there is tempeh in Mexico at all is incredible,
Hmm.
and good tempeh. So and I think the people behind Gusto's, they are really dedicated to creating the right taste, everything authentic that you can get. All the way back in Indonesia as well. So like, uh, and the price of these pack is about 80 pesos, and I would think that that's a good price because you get a good amount. Like
Hmm.
for us, there were three of us eating. We had more than enough. It was very good. And okay, the
Yes, and
places where
the passion that Louisa has for the tempeh, you can
yeah,
actually tell.
you
Like
can
she's
feel it.
really into it, yeah. And
Talking to her and in the tempeh itself, you can feel it. Yeah, made
yes,
with love, as she said to us. Yeah,
yes. So all you vegan peoples out there, this is something to get and try and add to your
right.
kitchen, basically. Yeah.
So, as our guest is already here, let me just quickly mention the different tiendas that you can find them Rustos Tempeh.
Hmm.
At Coyoacan, it's called a Super Oriental Mexicano. In Del Valle, you can find it in Puro Amor Vegano. In Nabarte, you can find it in Go Taco. In Roma Sur, it's in Casa. I think some of you might know Casa. And then there's Mora Mora in Condesa, Roma, and Polanco. So another thing that we would like to mention is that this is a Japanese Mexican based company, and they use traditional Indonesian techniques. So yes, that is all, and really try out tempeh. It's easy to cook too. You just throw it in and fry it with all your veggies and stuff until it turns brown. So it's really good.
So
Add
you
some
don't
sugar, add some soy sauce, that kind of thing. Find some recipes online. Well,
so you don't actually need to deep fry it, right? Because that was the impression that I had, that you only need to deep fry it, but you don't have to.
no, you don't have to, but if you want, I think there are recipes about that.
So you can just throw it in the frying pan like what you did, right?
Yeah. Okay.
A big thumbs up to that, right? So go try it.
So now we are going to invite our guest on.
Yes.
We have Corinne
Orton.
Orton with
Yes.
us all the way from Scotland.
Okay.
Hi,
Oh, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
thank you so
How
much
are
for
you doing?
having me. I'm good. I have to say, I've been up since 5 a.m. today, so I'm a little bit sleepy already, but I'm doing good.
it's all good. It's all good. So just to let you guys know, the people watching, we're gonna get into some really interesting topics today. And
Yes,
yeah,
because Corinne is a life coach, and that's so interesting to us. Now we can ask so many questions, and
yes,
yeah, and find out what how she's doing, like as a life coach, growing herself. You know, like, it's
yes.
pretty cool.
So Corinne, why don't you start? Why don't you take us either back or forward or wherever you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm from Scotland originally, but I came over to Mexico a long time ago. I came to study. I studied Spanish as my degree. And so I lived here
Oh,
for a year, fell in love with the country. And then I came back more recently. I was able to find a way to work remotely as a life coach. And so then when I had that, I just thought, right, I have to go back to Mexico. I really want to live there again. So yeah, I'm living my
Right.
dream life now.
wow. Wait,
Wow.
so how did that come about? Like, you must have had some passion for Spanish, right? Like to make you choose to do that as a degree. How did that happen?
Yeah, I studied Spanish at high school, and I was really good at languages. I did German as well, and English obviously, and yeah, that was seemed to be the only thing that I really enjoyed at school. And so, of course, it meant like, well, if I study Spanish, I could go and live in a Spanish-speaking country, and I was really into travel,
Hmm.
so that was kind of part of the appeal for me.
Right. So in when you said that you arrived 2001, right? And like and you fell in love, with Mexico. So what was it about Mexico that drew you and yeah, made you want to come back?
Oh, this country is just gets under your skin. Like I just feel like it's just a place for me. I mean, I really just feel so at home here. It was so easy to make friends coming here, and I think I was pretty young when I came here, so I guess I was quite impressionable. When you're young, you're just like,
Right.
wow, and I just made such a huge impression, and I made really strong connections, even people that I'm still in touch with today, like 20 years later. And they gave me a
Mm.
nickname. And Mexicans love giving people nicknames. And so they used to call me Chapulín, which is like grasshopper,
Definitely.
because
Right.
because I'm short and I'm always jumping around, and so they gave me this nickname. And it
Okay.
just made me feel like part of the place.
Yeah,
And it's such a
Yeah, that's
nice
pretty cool.
community. And
Yeah.
yeah.
right. Yeah, like I mean, if you stayed in contact all these years. Like I mean, if you're not in person and you're overseas, it's actually quite difficult to maintain contact, right?
But I gotta say, in
Yeah.
2001, that's basically 9/11, right? So what was that like at that time? I mean, traveling during that landscape and things like that.
Wow, that's really funny that you should mention, because I always remember that day, because obviously being blonde, people thought that I was American, right? So on that day,
Mm.
I met a Mexican woman in a market, and she said, Nina, your country, there was an airplane crash in your country. And I was thinking, in Scotland, there was some crash. But of course, she was
Yeah.
referring to New York. And then I found
Mm.
out about it. I found out about it at the market, and so it was a really difficult time, because my parents were so worried about me being so far away from Scotland at that time. And yeah, I remember that really well. But I continued, stayed until 2002, and yeah, it was such a wonderful experience back then.
Right. And like, I mean, you lived for a year, so of course there are all the like beauty and the novelty and everything, but I'm sure you faced some challenges even back then. Like, how was your Spanish firstly? That it was already good when you arrived?
Not at all. Although I had studied at university for a while, we were just thrown in the deep end, right? So we had to find our
Mm.
own accommodation, and we were walking around asking people where we should live. And it was really difficult
Oh
in the
yeah.
beginning to find a
Yeah, this was
place. And
before. Right. before
Yeah.
Airbnb and all that, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Way before that, we were literally just walking the
Mm,
streets and talking to people, and we were living in
mm,
Cholula in Puebla. So it was a small community, lots of students there. So actually, we felt pretty safe, and we were able to find where to live and things like that. So it was fine, but it definitely took me at least 6 months for the Spanish to really click, and for me to really improve. And obviously making friends and getting a boyfriend, that really helped to improve my Spanish a lot.
Yeah.
well, 6 months is much better than us, I think I would say. We're still trying to get our Spanish
Yeah.
Still learning.
to accept, yeah, still
Yeah,
avanzando,
years
yeah.
when you're, yeah. I mean, of course, we're not like going out every day studying or working and communicating with, in Spanish.
Hmm.
We're mostly talking to each other. Yeah.
Yes, but wow, I mean,
Yeah.
listening to your story is like so interesting, and what was it like back? I mean, back then when you guys arrived, and yeah, of course, you had to, like you said, thrown in the deep end, right? And obviously, I don't know, you came here with some other students. Was it a group of you guys?
Yeah,
Other Scottish
yeah.
friends.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, mostly I studied with in English university, so it was some other English, all girls actually, and it was pretty funny. They called us the Go-Go's because when we spoke Spanish, or the English accent, when they say, for example, tango, they will say
Okay.
tango like this with a kind of English accent. So everybody was making fun
Right.
of our pronunciation, like go go like this, and I thought, okay, I don't want to sound like that, so I'm gonna have to make an effort with my
An
Spanish.
effort.
And now I say tengo, and I know how to say it with a better accent, so I worked really
Yeah.
hard
Okay.
on that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
perfect.
good when they like befriend you also because then you know which areas the accent is going off, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this is a language of accents. Is like if you're putting the pressure on a different spot, the word changes from how they would pronounce it. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yes, and about that point also, when someone, for example, if you say tortas in a really strong American accent, or something, it's just a disconnect, right? Like an emotional disconnect or something when for the
You're
Spanish
pronouncing
people, I
it
guess,
different.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We feel that way in Singapore too when a foreigner tries to speak Singlish, and they try to. Yeah, no, but let's not get into that. Let's keep things positive here on the show today, right? But there's something I want to ask you, Corinne. What was your impression before you got to Mexico, and what was different when you arrived?
Yeah, so I really didn't have a strong impression of Mexico. It's so far from Scotland. It's not like in the
Mhm.
States where they have a lot of connections with the country. They're so close by, and they have a lot of Mexican food in the States. But in Scotland, really, there's maybe one or two restaurants in my city, and they weren't so good. So I mean, I didn't have a really big impression of what to expect, and that was part of the interest for me. That was part of the reason, because I wanted to go far away. I wanted to discover something new. So many of my classmates went to live in Spain, because Spain is pretty close to Scotland. But i
Right.
i was like, no, I want to go far. And so I didn't really have a big impression. I was a little bit worried about danger, poverty, things like this, and it was a bit of a shock, a culture shock, right, to see the difference eh, in lifestyle and cost of living and things like this. So yeah, there was a lot of culture shock in that day. I was so young; I hadn't really traveled very much. Um, but at the same time, there was so much beauty and so much fun, so many fun things to discover.
Yeah.
So I was really hooked as soon as I got here, and going to visit like small towns, the pueblos mágicos and the beaches and things like that. It was such a pleasure. So it was not
Yeah.
difficult to fall in love with the place.
Right. So, Corinne, you're like, I think our first Scottish guest.
Yes. Yes. You
Yeah.
are.
right?
Yes.
And like the only thing we know about Scotland is whatever we saw on Outlander.
Hey, your typical things, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Amazing.
think that is,
Yeah. No, what
yeah.
was the other series that we there was this other series that we watched?
What other series? Outlander is the only one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean,
That's the big one for
like,
sure. Yeah.
that's the big
that's
one,
a
right?
big one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a really fun watch. But
Mm,
yeah, so we know that it's very mountainous, very scenic,
yeah.
and stuff like that. Could you tell us more stuff about Scotland?
Yes, please.
Of course. Scotland's a beautiful country. And as you know, yeah, there's a lot of castles. People think, oh, you live in a castle? Yeah, right. I mean, they're like huge castles all over the country, but nobody really lives there. Lots of people have weddings there, but that's about it. And so many beautiful lakes and mountains and all of that. It's really stunning. And it's a really friendly place. I come from Edinburgh, which is the capital, and they call it the festival city. So that's because it's like year round. There's so many festivals, cultural festivals, music, science, theater, comedy. I mean, there's a festival for everything.
Mm, wow.
And so Scotland is also very progressive, like with our politics. I think the majority of us did not vote for Brexit. We wanted to stay in
Okay.
Europe. We're pretty open-minded about our politics, and we welcome refugees. We're very proud as a small nation. We're only 5 million people, so it's a small population. But for me, the hardest part about living in Scotland is the weather. You know, the weather is pretty cold and rainy and windy all year round. So yeah, that was my
Honestly,
challenge.
that's my impression of like, most of the UK. Like that's my impression of
Yeah.
the weather.
Mhm.
Like gray.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's true.
Yeah, even in
Like-
summer, it could be like that. Yeah, it's too bad.
So I'm sure you're loving the weather here, then, right? In
I
Mexico
can't get
City?
enough. I love it. I love it. This is a
Just a
perfect
perfect
climate
blend,
for
right?
me.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, really.
Mhm.
And we can. It's a nice view. I mean, where you at? On your balcony?
Yeah, so this
Right
is my
now.
balcony,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's funny for me. It's like a coming full circle because when I moved here in 2001, I was facing Popo, the volcano in Puebla, and I can
Yeah.
see it now from here as well. So it's like my little symbol of Mexico following me where I go. So yeah, we have a wonderful view. We're on the 10th floor, so I can't complain.
Can you tell us a bit more about some of the challenges that you face, like when you came to Mexico? So you came here once in 2001 for a year, and then when did you come back again?
Yeah, I came in
Oh, you got
2001, and
muted.
then I was dragged away. I went to live in Japan, and I went to Spain for a while, and I moved around quite a lot. And then I was visiting quite regularly some of the friends that I have here. But I finally moved back in 2022, so just a couple of years ago. Um, there are quite a lot of cultural differences living here. It's definitely there's been when I talk to friends, you know, things like working here can be a challenge. Most of the people that I work with are freelancers, but I've heard from some people who work in office jobs here, and the office culture is quite different from the Western perspective, I guess, from you know, just long working hours and conditions and things like that. And the dating scene as well can be tricky to navigate, I think, for Westerners who are quite independent. Western women tend to be opinionated and independent and things like this. So, you know, there can be some challenges in that respect as well, and it can
As
be
they
quite
should be, right?
traditional. Of course, it's natural. I mean,
on all,
Yeah.
I on all the
Yeah.
apps, like There is one for foreigners here as well, like
Oh, is it?
Hinge, I think. Yeah, supposedly
Yeah.
that's a good one. Yeah, my
But
friend was like
if it
raving
was,
about
if
it.
it was, yeah, I think if it was really easy, like there's no point in going somewhere else, right? You have to expect that there's going to be some differences, and that has to be
Yeah.
part of your experience and part of the fun, right? Of learning about a new culture.
Yes.
So you'll always learn
And
something
sure.
new.
how
That
you, yeah, yeah.
I mean, and
you
and
just,
and you mentioned that you, instead of going to Spain, you decided to go further, right? So you actually did want some transformative experience, right?
Mhm.
Somehow.
Less
yeah,
easy, yeah.
that's what
Mm.
life is
Yeah,
about for me, for
yeah,
sure.
and
That's beautiful.
so yeah, so like as a life coach, like regarding these uh things that you need to adapt to when you're overseas, like what would you say in general to your students?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing for us is to learn Spanish. I really think that is going to improve your experience a lot, and it will really open a lot more doors for you. If
Hmm.
you get on, if you can speak, you don't have to speak fluently, but at least learn the basics, and it can really give you, you know, an insight to how the locals are and what they talk about and things like that. So it
Yeah,
really enhances your experience. And I think talk to people in general. Mexican people are so open and friendly, and they are really
yeah,
curious. Why do you want to live here? Why did you come here? I just had a taxi driver ask me, you know, why do you come here alone? Don't you miss your family? And I said, of course, but you know, it's an experience. It's a fun experience to have. So people are pretty
yeah,
curious, and get to know them and reach out to communities and build your own community and network. If you feel homesick, there's also a lot of immigrants and expats here, so there's so many to connect with, and just
mhm,
get to know different cities, different neighborhoods, not just Roma, Condesa. You know, go out
Right.
there and explore. I think it's really important. I love going to local markets, especially, and trying
yeah.
new foods, and really getting a taste of different things here. I think it's really important to do that. Yeah.
Mm.
How about, the cultural differences, right? Like for example, how Mexican businesses would do things, and then how Western people actually handle responsibilities and stuff like that. Like I've met a lot of friends who actually get so frustrated in the in the process
Yeah.
because of the differences. And like, what would you say about that? I mean, I think you know what I mean, right? You
Yeah,
would like,
there's a lot to learn, really. I think
Your
that,
your sorry to cut you off, Corinne, but your mic cuts on and off, just to let you know.
oh, really? I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. Can you hear me okay?
Right now it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think there's a lot to learn here, and take it slowly and get to know the locals, get to know what they need, what they want from you, but don't expect everything to be easy, right? Don't expect it to be exactly like home. The whole reason you're here is to try something different. So you have to be open to
Yeah.
that, adaptable. Yeah.
right. I think like a lot of people assume like what is a right way and what's a wrong way, and then
Mm.
like when they go to different countries, then they are like, okay, these people are not doing it right, and or something, or like or something they like, and then they villainize their whole so their whole culture or something. So it
Yeah.
gets to that kind of judgy,
Mm.
states. And yeah, I've always thought it'll be good for us to. I mean, the point of going overseas is you start to see like there's no one way.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Or the template that you've been using to judge things, it can be broader, right? It can be more. It can include different things,
I
right? Things that
completely
is not
agree.
really. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
just give the example of lateness.
Okay.
It's such a common topic,
Yes.
right? So basically, like okay, so like the Mexican culture is like more like it's definitely a later culture than, let's say, Japanese, you know.
Okay.
So like, and the correct way is to be on time. The late way is wrong, but what is wrong is what's
Yeah,
right, you
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
like.
Exactly. From in that perspective, like, yeah, what is wrong, what is
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
if you fight the lateness, you start flowing, you get really annoyed, and you don't utilize your time well. But if you don't fight it, you don't judge it, you just flow with it. You know, you actually have a lot of fun. Like
Mm.
it's the difference. Maybe, okay, let's say we're comparing Japan and Mexico. Like if you are so uptight with the time, you could be very. It could be a more boring situation as well. You're like, okay, very fixed, and you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just talking
No,
randomly, but
absolutely.
yeah.
It was so weird for me going from Mexico to Japan because I really got I got really into this way of life. Just, oh, I'm gonna arrive whenever I'm ready, and nobody
Yeah.
minds if I'm a half an hour late. It's no problem. And then I went to Japan, and it was like they didn't understand why I was like this. You know, it's really a completely different
Yeah,
culture, and
What
people got
happened? Can you
pretty
tell us?
annoyed with
Like,
me.
it's,
we
it's
are,
supposed to be,
and you're to the dot, right? Like to the exactly like 8 p.m. is 8 p.m. sharp or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
and in
I
the
find?
UK
Like,
too.
and in the UK too. Okay, okay.
Yeah, in Singapore as well, more or less like.
Yeah.
Little difference, like 5 minutes, everyone's pretty cool. Like they don't notice it, but like anything more than that, you're going to be labeled the late person. Yeah.
Now, guys, we are
Absolutely.
saying this, but we are in the music business, and organizing events is a part of our thing. So actually, being organizers, we actually prefer if people arrive on time. You know what I'm saying? And
But I do organize things with like a very spacious
hmm,
mentality, like, and I'm cool also with whatever goes. Yeah.
and to add on to your point about growing and growing your perspective, or changing your perspective, right? Like this thing of being a bit more spacious with the time and stuff, it's kind of actually also taught us to be a bit more flowy with things, and a bit more accepting of other cultures and different peoples in the way they do things, right? So
So, yeah, like for example, as artists, you generally like you suddenly you're running off to another thought, or
mhm,
like intuitively you're just flowing here and there. So like time is it's like an enforced concept from society, you know, like, and you
yeah.
just want to do what your intuition wants you to do, you know. So, and I respect that too. Like, so I don't have so much of like, okay, this is right, this is wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do
So
you feel about it?
Absolutely. It's so important to be adaptable, to be flexible. And I think that's what traveling teaches you. It teaches you how important it is to just be open to new ways of doing things, new cultures, new perspectives. It's so important to have an open mind and to approach things in a
mhm,
flexible way. It really helps you to grow.
Yeah.
yes, yes, we noticed this like firsthand, and
Yeah.
I I want to get into a bit about how you, I mean, your journey as a life coach, right? Like, so I'm assuming that before you became a life coach, you're studying yourself, studying life, and studying,
I mean,
and
you
growing,
must have been already a very introspective person
and
and stuff like that to be interested in this career, right?
yeah, yeah. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually I received some coaching myself. So somebody coached me when I was going through a difficult time. And I realized
Okay.
how powerful it can be to have someone who listens to you, who doesn't judge you, and is just giving you the space to talk about what you need and what you want and what is challenging you and helping you, supporting you through a difficult time, supporting you through a change. I realized like, wow, this is such a powerful thing to do for someone. And I really want to be more involved in that. Like, I want to know what is involved. And so I ended up studying to be a coach, and you learn a lot about listening. A lot of people don't really listen. They just want to talk about themselves. They want to give you advice. So the important thing for a coach is to really listen to what the client is saying and listen to what they are not saying as well, right? So reading between the lines and trying to support them on their journey. So yeah, it's been a really interesting period of my life, learning all of these skills and meeting people and seeing how I can support them.
Right. Yeah, I can really feel that like your intention is very genuine. Like you don't, you definitely don't have the like
The airs.
yeah, you're not like the guru and
I'm
giving
glad.
advice.
Yeah. You're like, come here, let me coach you. You know, it's kind of, right? You know. But let's get into some of this. Like, okay, first of all,
Yeah, what were you saying?
like some biases, right? Okay, like you know, I'm just speaking generally. Like, if you're talking about being a life coach, right? Like what areas, like what areas would you cover?
So relationships, a lot of people want to talk about relationships, whether it's their personal ones or that they have with their boss or their colleagues. Usually they want to change something about a relationship, or changing careers. You know, a lot of people are getting really sick of working in their, you know, traditional 9 to 5, and they want to break out and try something different, but they're not sure about what to do, about where to go. So I can work with them to discover what is your passion, what is it that you really want to do, what is your purpose in life. So I love working with people about that, you know, talking through what do you really want to get out of life. We only have one life, we've got to make the most of it. So what is it that you really want? That's what I tend to discuss with people. And it might be as well a habit that you want to change, you know, something that you've been doing for years and you want to get out of this cycle. So yeah, we talk and we work out ways. Coaching is very future forward. So it's thinking about what can I change and what can I make better? How can I improve myself and my life?
Right. It's interesting. So you actually have like a long-term relationship with your students, right? Like it's a continuous process, and it's kind of like therapy in a way, right? Like, and
Yeah,
they
definitely.
are
It's very
like
similar.
sharing with you. Yeah, and like it's like you have someone to talk to that is completely interested in like your whole life, all the decisions that they can make it with you, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking now to do a session with you. Yeah, sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and this thing about, I mean, the term coach also like kind of implies that you're right there with them, right? Like, you know,
Yeah, no, of course,
during the
it
games, you know.
implies that you're helping them be their best, right? You know, like a basketball coach, like
Yeah.
get them on the top of their game kind of thing. Yeah.
Can you tell us
Yeah,
a
we
bit
say that
about
you're like,
no, sorry, go ahead.
we say that we're like the client is in the driving seat, and we are like the person next to them on the passenger seat. Maybe we have a map, but the driver knows where they're going, right? You know what is important to you. You know best what is best for you deep down. But sometimes you need someone to just help you bring it out and kind of give you some feedback, give you some ideas, talk and listen to you. And that's
Right.
really what makes it supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like a sounding board. You have like someone to
Yeah.
hear all your ideas. Yeah, so you can figure things out with the person.
I mean, without getting into any details, can you tell us a bit about maybe one or two clients that really something really interesting and some, you know, that really struck a chord with you?
Yeah, I mean, I had someone who recently who wanted to change careers. So we talked through, we did a lot of exercises, right? Like journaling, writing, what is important to me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I really want from life? What have been the significant experiences that I've had that I want to have more of? And then we like prototype. So we kind of thought about 3 careers that could be possible, and then do some kind of research into like what would it mean to take that job, what like would that give me the purpose that I want, that I'm looking for, and coming up with lots of ideas and strategies of how you could network yourself into that career. So that was really interesting. Also, I worked with someone who had a difficult relationship with their boss, and they felt that their confidence was really going down because they didn't get on well with their
Oh.
boss. So we talked a lot about how to be more assertive, how to get what you need from the relationship, and ways we worked out like conversational tactics of how she could talk to her boss and ask for what she needs and create a better relationship. So that was also really interesting, and it took a lot of time for that person to open up and to really think about their communication style, because it's hard to make those changes when you're older and you've been doing things a certain way for all your life. It's hard to make changes. But if something isn't working for you, then it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
definitely.
the theme of today's episode is committing to change, right? So
Yeah.
that is what you told me, and I thought that was like the most important part of like this whole life coaching thing,
Yeah.
that you can embrace change. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
commit to it, right? Because it really is a commitment. You need consistency. You need to stick with it, right? Stick with the program if you want the change to happen, right?
Because if you don't commit to
absolutely.
change,
Yeah.
so cool. Like committing, because change is movement, and
Yeah.
committing is sticking to it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't do this process, you get stuck, right?
You
You
get stuck.
just get stuck on every level.
Wow. I want to ask you.
But
I mean,
it's
like,
scary. It can be
because
scary
a lot.
as well to change.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, change is like scary for everybody, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, a lot of these topics seem to be, coming off of like not being able to really listen to yourself, or kind of like losing that voice, that inner voice, right? Would you say?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. It's forgetting
yeah.
what you want, forgetting your needs, or not listening to what you really really want. Um,
Mhm.
getting distracted by the day to day, the 9 to 5, and not really thinking about what is it that I want. You can get into like this cycle where you just go to work and go home and watch TV, and then you end up like
Yeah.
feeling unfulfilled, and it's because you're not really
Right.
listening to what your body needs or what you really want. So yeah, it's completely normal, but we need to fight it. We need to change things up, right, and try new things. That's what
Yeah.
life is all about.
Yeah. So and
Well,
Corinne, like personally for you, how do you feel that you have grown here in Mexico? Like the experience
Oh,
here, how has it?
so much. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I don't know. It's just so mind blowing every day. Like I just being able to live here. It's like it feels like a pleasure, right? There's just so much stimulus. There's so much to see and be
Yeah.
part of, and it really makes me grow as a person to be around. All these different amazing communities of people and friends that I've made here have really impacted my life, and I've had such amazing
Yeah.
experiences traveling around. I'm so grateful that I'm able to travel a little bit around different states in Mexico, and it's really expanded my mind, my awareness, my understanding of people and culture. So yeah, it's really been such an amazing experience, and I hope it continues.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it is the experiences here do feel very deep, right? Like there's a lot of layers to dig into.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, at the beginning of the episode, you actually said that you feel that you're living your dream here, and that's amazing. I love that. Like, yeah, and what exactly is this dream like? Living in a foreign country or living in Mexico or what exactly is? Yeah.
Or having so
I
much
think,
change happen to you that you are constantly growing. Is that kind of what it is?
yeah, it's all of those things. It's all of those things. It's feeling at home somewhere, feeling comfortable in my skin, feeling that I'm able to express myself. You know, here I feel that people are quite curious, like I said before, and I've become very open-minded. Um, I'm sure that I can have a similar experience in Scotland, and I've had some wonderful experiences in different places that I've lived. But there's something about here that makes me feel really at home and comfortable and happy. The weather always makes me feel upbeat and really really excited to be in this glorious sunshine. It really
Yeah.
affects my mood in a positive way. So yeah, just I feel very independent here. I feel free. So yeah, I'm very very grateful for that experience and all the
Right.
changes that
And
I've been
plus,
through. Feel like I can cope with here. Yeah.
Hmm.
mm,
Yeah, and you look so happy. Like, I mean, you're beaming.
yeah,
Yeah, and every time we see you, it's like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
My
I
big
mean, because
smile.
we don't have, yeah, like what a great smile we have. But so we have like maybe 10 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes left, and
Mm.
I would like to also talk about your career before as a film festival producer. I think that's really interesting to get into a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Corinne told me she's going to Scotland soon to do coaching, like a coaching workshop for at a festival, at a film
Oh
festival.
wow.
That's very fun.
Okay, can you
Yeah,
tell us a
that's
bit about
right.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's why I was up at 5 a.m. this morning because it was 11 a.m. in Scotland. And I was talking to some filmmakers this morning about confidence, about how to feel more confident in yourself. So I was giving a workshop
Okay.
about that this morning. And next week, I'm going to Scotland to give a few more workshops, one about burnout, what happens when you feel burnt out, how can you challenge those feelings and assert your boundaries, and also I'm going to be working with some filmmakers to talk about their goals. So what do they want to do in terms of the films that they want to make, and how are they going to make it happen? So like I said, coaching is always forward looking, so thinking about what you can do, what you can put in place to achieve your goals. That's what I'm going to talk about when I do the workshops next week. So I'm really excited to go. And because in the past I was a film festival producer, I had a lot of contact with filmmakers and people in the industry. So I'm really happy that I can mix both worlds, right? The film
Yeah.
festival world and the coaching together. It feels like everything is coming together. So it's a really great time for me to use my networks and
Right.
to help support people.
Right. So do you know the Outlander people? No. Are you coaching them?
maybe maybe I'll meet them next week. Who knows?
Oh yeah, so fun.
I'm
Like yeah,
I'm
like
so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed to say that I've never watched the show, but everybody tells me that they love it. So that's funny. I need to watch an
yeah, it's really
episode.
good. Really, really. Yeah, it's really, really good. I would say. Yeah. We watch all the seasons, waiting for the new season to come out.
Yeah, because there's this like time travel thing that's built
Yeah.
into the
So it's
story and everything.
sci-fi, and then
Yeah.
it's like epic. Oh
Hmm.
yeah. So, really
Yo,
cool.
but Corinne, this is like these things that you're talking about, like bridging the two worlds, is something that's really close to our heart because the art that we do is actually in that same vein of kind of like self-empowerment, you know what I mean? Reprogramming yourself to putting yourself first, and actually kind of getting rid of all the stuff that's not serving you. And do,
Yeah.
do you actually see a big pattern with artistic or people or filmmakers and producers who are actually, you know, dealing with these kind of topics now, you know, like kind of, for lack of a better word, spiritual topics, you know.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more something that people are talking about, right? I think before, in the past, maybe people feel like, oh, I'm gonna pretend that I'm really confident, I'm gonna fake it till I make it, and I'm just gonna pretend like I can do this. But now people are saying, actually, this is hard, this is difficult, like I have to sell myself, I want to be creative, but I also need to make money. And how do I do both things? Because I feel really comfortable behind the camera, but in front of people and asking for money, trying to get funding, trying to get work, you know, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of effort. And so people are starting to say, you know, how can I be more confident? How can I get what I need and get what I want, and be authentic, right? Because you don't want to fake it till you make it. That doesn't make sense. We don't want to be fake.
Yes.
We want to be real. We want to be authentic, and we want to be ourselves. That's the most important thing. So I think people are starting to realize, like, I need to learn how to not listen to my self-doubt, and to be a bit stronger, more confident. And so they're starting to work out, like, how do I do this, you know? So it's definitely a conversation that is going on at the moment in the industry, and I'm glad to be part of it and support people where I can.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And being artists ourselves, we almost feel a very strong responsibility to kind of showcase our learnings, you know, our transformations through our art, you know, for the benefit of all people, you know. And yeah,
That's the only way that, like, it feels right to connect, right? Like we have to do this, like we have to put ourselves out there.
yeah. And also,
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of studied that old model of, I mean, all these models of, like, you know, like fake it till you make it and stuff, and kind of like, you know, fake it till you make it. It's just kind of trying to give an impression that you've made it, so that people will kind of look up to you, so that people will listen to you and think that you have something to offer, you know.
It's
So
like a sales based kind of thing, the multi-level marketing kind of people. They always say that, you know, they plant some like expensive cars outside the office so that people think that everything
people
is
think
going
that,
well already.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so marketing
My-
kind of angle, right?
yeah,
Yeah, my favorite quote and my favorite thing to tell people is nobody is you, and that is your power, right? If you think about it, you're unique. You have something unique to share with the world. Nobody
amen.
is like you, right? And that is so powerful. So try to be yourself, be authentic, and you know, your confidence will soar. You know, if you're real, if you're authentic, people want to hear that. They
You're
want to
touching
know.
yes, you're touching a topic that we need another hour to get into, actually, and it's too bad that we've actually come to the last minutes of this show, Corinne. It's been so interesting and enlightening talking to you, and
Thank
we
you.
would
Yeah, you
definitely
too.
recommend you, yeah, as a
Yeah,
life coach, people that we know.
well, yeah, I
Yeah,
really think that your energy is perfect. Like, it's so comfortable to talk to you.
yeah, because
Yeah, you're like the perfect life coach. Really, I can feel it.
yeah, I mean, you have this like kind of openness, right? But also a kind of a challenging kind of Chapolin kind of feeling, you know, like and,
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, and
Thank you so much.
it's so great, it's so great.
So,
Um,
so Corinne, we do need some last words for the
yeah,
audience. Like, okay, so some actionable steps they can take to improve their lives, as
I know
well
you
as figure
usually
out their
charge
purpose.
money for this, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
some generic one for everybody.
yes,
I'll give you some wisdom for free. I think change can be scary, right? So start small. Start and make a change today. Challenge yourself. Put yourself out of your comfort zone. What little small changes can you make gradually to get where you want to be? Do some research, journal. I'm really a big fan of writing down, what do I need? Get it out of your head and onto the page. And when you're trying to figure out what is your purpose, think about what makes you happy, what is working for you, what is not, and try new things. Volunteer, talk to your networks, get involved with different projects and communities, and you'll find your purpose there. It's outside. It's not staying home. You're gonna get outside and get out of your comfort zone.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yes, you have to put yourself. You have to put yourself out there. Yeah.
Yes.
But start small. If that
Well-
feels scary, start small. Yeah.
Start small changes, right? Like
Take small steps. So,
mm.
thank you so much for joining us here. I'm Celeste Ijo,
I'm Isaac Rakesh.
and we have Corinne Orton with us, and we are on ADR Networks.
Activating your senses.
Signing
off.
Thank you
Been
so
nice
much.
talking to you,
Bye-bye.
Corinne, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you to all who joined us here on That Foreign Show. It's been